Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of GameStop, ticker symbol GME. And here we are looking at the daily chart on Friday, June 14th, after the market has closed and GameStop closed at a price of $28.70, being down about 1.5% on the day. But it did close above a pretty key level. If we do flip over to the max pain here, we can see that for today's date, June 14th, the max pain was $27.50. So we did close above the two higher strike prices, that being 28 and 28.50. So I do think that is good. Now, we closed above max pain suggests that bulls do have control, and I do think that could be sending price higher. However, I do think we could see a little bit of stagnation and perhaps a breakdown of some of these levels to weed out weak hands before the next leg up. As we all know by now, that Roaring Kitty has now sold about half of his calls and exercised the remainder to now be holding 9,001,000 shares. So, I think that's great that he does hold a lot more shares now, but because he no longer holds those calls, he doesn't really have any more leverage that could potentially be sending the stock violently higher. But that's okay. He's a long-term holder as far as I understand it. He's going to be holding those 9 million shares, and his average price is right around $23.41, but that is why I have this red line marked here, and I do have that marked on the 13th when he did post that to Reddit. So that is a level that I do think could be acting as some support, as we've got 9,001,000 shares at that level that are not going to be moving. So I think that's really good. But then below that, I do have this orange line. As I did mention max pain for today, we do have the max pain for next week coming up, and that is at $20 a share. I imagine largely because of Roaring Kitty's massive position that he had held, and now there are just a ton of calls held with that strike price. So I do think that is a pretty important level, and I do think that it is in the interest of market makers to be driving the price down to that level. So if we do see a break of some of these levels, I don't think it's a big deal. I think that, we are comfortably above max pain now. And if we do break some of these levels, but do get a close above $20 a share, I think that's fine. I do think that the stock will still be looking strong, but a break of these levels really, like I said, could just be to flush out weak hands. And on that note, I do have this white uptrend drawn here based on the low hit on May 2nd, with the other pivot point being the low hit on May 24th, being at a price of $17.70. And so what I see here, and what I suspect a lot of people see here, is that we have been forming higher lows. We have not broken this trend. But, what if we do? What if, because nobody expects price to come down to $17.70, maybe there are some stop losses at that price or just lower. And so I could see a flush of these levels, weeding out any weak hands, and then ideally, hopefully, getting a bounce to close the week above $20 a share, ideally well above 23.41, above this uptrend, and ideally closing at around a price of $26.50 or higher. That would be good, holding this level, holding above max pain, well above max pain, because I think that could really start to trigger the price to go a lot higher, potentially to revisit right around $48 a share, or potentially to eclipse 64.83, get back to those pre-market prices above 80 and potentially higher. But I do think that we could be seeing some consolidation next week, perhaps breaks of these levels. So I would look for that and I would brace for it. And if it does happen, I would just relax, hold on for the ride. There could be some great dip buying opportunities next week. And if that is the case, I think that's great. But if that doesn't happen and we do hold this uptrend, I think that there's a lot of upside that we will be seeing with the stock, especially with the stockholder meeting being held on Monday, June 17th at 11:30 a.m. Central, which is going to be at 12:30 Eastern. And if you're not able to join the meeting here, I will be streaming it on the channel because I'd like to be listening to it and I'd like to be getting that info. And so if you would like to, you can join via this channel. That would be great. But yeah, as far as the stock price goes over the course of the next week, I would not panic if it does dip. I would take advantage if it does dip. And if we can be closing above $30 a share, that does look like it has been a pretty important level that we have kind of been consolidating below. And so that would look really strong if we start to see closes above that price. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.